Hi, I'm Adam, I'm 30, and I've decided to share this story now that things have finally begun to calm down after a crazy year. I was in a committed relationship with my girlfriend, who was 28. At this time last year, I was in a relationship with Lexi. We'd been dating for 2 years and felt like we had a good thing going. We met at a house party through mutual friends and hit it off right away. We took it slow at first, enjoying each other's company and not rushing into anything serious. We both had some tough relationships in the past, so we wanted to take it slow. As time went on, we became close and fell in love. I work in finance, and Lexi works in marketing. Our weekdays were usually pretty hectic, but we made time to see each other on the weekends, despite not living together. We also kept in touch daily via phone calls or messages. Her friends seemed to like me as much as mine loved her, and friends would always tell us we were meant to be. We seemed to have something really solid, so I was delighted last month when I wanted to do something special for Lexi's birthday. After saving money, I gave her tickets to a week. I surprised her with a long getaway. She was really happy and said it was the best present I'd ever given her. We planned it together and looked at places to eat and things to do. Lexi was really excited and was counting down the days. She even bought some new clothes for the trip. Then, the day before we were due to leave, Lexi called. She sounded really angry and said her boss had stopped her going away. She told me that despite my disappointment, she would need to remain at work. I made an effort to be empathetic because I didn't want to make her feel awful about her work responsibilities. However, something didn't feel quite right. The abrupt change didn't set well with me because I recalled her saying previously that her leave had been authorized. Not wanting to come out as paranoid, I tried to ignore the notion, but it persisted. The following morning, while packing, I couldn't get rid of the sense that something wasn't right. I impulsively gave Lexi's office a call to see if they said they could look into it, but when I got to Lexi's office, her CO worker told me she was on vacation. I felt like I'd been lied to, but I didn't know what was going on. I had to find out what was going on. I decided to go to her city. I felt like I had no other option. I had a choice. I could either knock on the door and ask to come in, or I could just go in. I went in. I unlocked the door using the extra key Lexi had given me. I heard voices as soon as I opened it. Lexi's voice and a man's voice I didn't recognize. My thoughts were racing as I froze. I was torn. Part of me wanted to go in and confront them, but I was also afraid of what I'd find. I waited there for what seemed like an age, listening to their muted laughter and discussion. I couldn't take it any longer, so I knocked loudly on the door. After a minute, I heard footsteps, and the sound ceased when Lexi opened the door and saw me standing there. Her face went white. I noticed a man sitting on the couch behind her who appeared uneasy. Lexi's voice trembled as she stammered, "Why are you in this place?" I was unable to talk. I turned my gaze from Lexi to the man on the couch and back again. Lexi began to mumble excuses, but my heart was beating so loudly in my chest that I couldn't hear her. When I finally found my voice, I said, "Who is he?" Before adding, "This is Daniel. He's a colleague." She paused and glanced back at the man. I stared at him, but he was unable to make eye contact. "Is this why you couldn't come on our trip?" I asked. All I needed to know was that Lexi stayed silent. Despite her requests for me to return and give her, I turned and left the flat. I spent hours exploring the city to try to take it all in. When I eventually checked my phone, I discovered dozens of missed calls and texts from Lexi. It felt like the earth had been torn out from beneath me. She said she and Daniel had been dating for months and that she'd been lying to me. She said it didn't mean anything and that she still loved me, but her comments seemed hollow and meaningless. I didn't answer. I felt totally numb. I booked the next ticket home. Once I got home, I locked myself in my apartment and turned off my phone. Not even my closest friends could face me. I was trying to figure out how I could have been so blind, so I started playing everything over in my head. After a few days, I eventually switched my phone back on because I felt like a fool. The betrayal was more painful than I had anticipated. My friends had been attempting to contact me. They were concerned about my abrupt disappearance. They had left hundreds of messages. They alternated between pleading for forgiveness and accusing me of overreacting. When the time came, I gave Max a call and told him everything. Max was upset on my behalf and offered to visit. I appreciated the company. Max brought food and drink, and we chatted all evening without trying to fix anything. He listened as I vented my frustration and heartache. All he did was listen, which was just what I needed. At the end of the evening, he suggested that I block Lexi's number for the time being, so that I could think clearly and not be distracted by her messages. I thought about it for a moment before. I agreed, but it felt like a last agonizing choice. I woke up the following morning feeling a little better, but blocking her was like shutting the door on everything I believed we had. Although the discomfort persisted, it was somewhat less intense. I made the decision to heed Max's counsel and give myself some time, thankful for the diversion. I jumped right into my job and started going to the gym in the evenings, pushing myself to be mentally and physically exhausted. I began to feel a little more like myself day by day, but the betrayal still hurt. I went over everything again, trying to figure out if there were any clues I'd missed or anything I could have done better. I felt as though my faith in Lexi and relationships in general had been destroyed, although I knew I had to move on. The future I had imagined with her was no longer there, and I had to consider my options. I'm taking things day by day for the time being, since I wasn't sure whether I would ever be able to trust someone again, or even if I wanted to. I'm fortunate to have friends like Max who have supported me. I still feel a bit adrift, to be honest. I'm hoping the pain will subside with time, but I'm not sure if I'm posting this to receive advice or just to get it off my chest. Right now, every day feels like a struggle, and I don't know where to turn. If anyone has any words of support, I'd be grateful to hear them. I'd like to thank everyone who got in touch and offered guidance and support as I've been going through this. It's been almost 3 weeks since my last article, so I'd like to provide a follow-up. If you've experienced something similar, I'd love to know how you handled it. I've been trying to make sense of things. Your comments have been a great comfort on certain days. I feel as though I'm finally making headway. On other days, though, I feel like I'm back where I started. When the pain strikes again, it's difficult, but I'm trying to be patient with myself. A week after my last post, an unforeseen circumstance occurred. Daniel, the man I saw with Lexi that day, sent me a message. He asked if we could have a conversation. I was angry at first. Why would I want to speak with the man who ruined my relationship? However, my curiosity got the better of me. I agreed to meet Daniel at a local coffee shop. When I got there, Daniel seemed anxious, so I thought it might be helpful to hear what he had to say. He started by expressing regret for what had happened. Then he revealed something shocking. Lexi had told him she was unmarried when they first met, but that wasn't true. I was surprised. There was something about the way he spoke that made me think he was telling the truth. Even if I wanted to believe he was lying to save face, it was hard to imagine. It was unreal to see those words from the person I thought I knew. I thought I knew Daniel so well. He told me he broke up with Lexi right away after that day. He even showed me some text messages she'd sent him, saying she was excited to start fresh after being single for a long time. He said he felt awful for inadvertently contributing to something that caused such profound pain to another person. He seemed sincere in his regret. As I was leaving, I understood that he'd also been duped and was entangled in the same web of falsehoods as me. I was in a complete mess after that talk. On the one hand, I felt a little less alone knowing that Daniel had also been deceived. On the other hand, it made me feel worse about Lexi's betrayal. She'd not only cheated on me, but also created a completely false reality and lied to us. Both the following few days were difficult because I felt like I was struggling with a ghost and couldn't let go of someone who didn't exist as I had thought. Part of me wanted to ask Lexi questions and confront her, but part of me understood that speaking with her would only make the suffering worse. Ultimately, I decided to stick to my no-contact policy. She'd made her own choices, and I had to move on without her. Knowing the full story made it easier to recover, but I wasn't going to let her pull me back into the mess she'd made. She'd shown me that Lexi's behavior was down to her own issues, not something I'd done wrong. But it also damaged my trust. How could I ever trust someone again if they could lie so convincingly? My friends have been great throughout this. Max has been especially supportive. He kept a close eye on me to make sure I didn't spend too much time by myself. He persuaded me to go hiking with him and a bunch of friends last weekend. I felt truly distracted from things for the first time in weeks. It was somewhat of a relief to be outside without my phone. Work has also been a useful distraction. I've been staying late at work and taking on extra projects. My employer gave me the chance to spearhead a new project, which takes a lot of effort and time, but it gives me direction and a goal to work towards, even though I'm still in pain. I'm thankful for that. I've also found journaling helpful. I started writing down my feelings and thoughts every night. It's easier to understand things when you see them on paper, and it also helps me track my progress. When I look back on a bad day, I realize there have been good days too, which gives me hope. One unexpected result of all this is that it's strengthened my bond with my sister Sarah. We've always been close, but we don't get to communicate as often as we'd like, because she lives out of state. She started contacting me every few days to check in after learning what had happened. I've been chatting with Lexi and it's been really helpful. She's given me a lot of perspective and has been a great source of stability. Sarah suggested I try counseling, and I'm seriously considering it. Lexi has reached out a few times through mutual contacts, but I think opening up to someone I don't know could be what I need to move on from this and regain my faith in people. Most of them have been really supportive when I've asked them to accept my decision to distance myself from this situation. Our connection has started to suffer because Rachel, one of my friends, I feel like Lexi is constantly pressuring me to listen to her. I think she doesn't realize how deep this cut runs, even though I understand that she wants to play peacekeeper. Overall, I'm doing better than I was 3 weeks ago, but I still have a long way to go. There's still a persistent discomfort in the background, and the pain isn't as intense as it once was. It's not as intense as it once was, but it's taking time. I'm focusing on creating a future without Lexi. I'm trying to be patient with myself and take things one day at a time because healing isn't linear. Once again, I want to thank everyone who has supported me. Your stories and thoughts have provided me with a lot of comfort. I've been getting some unexpected support, so I'd be really grateful if anyone could give me any tips on how to move forward. I also want to say that you're not alone if you're going through something similar. We'll get through this one day at a time. A lot has changed since my last update, which was 6 months ago. It means more to me than I can say how much I appreciate everyone who has followed my story and shown support. The biggest change is that I've moved to a new place for work, but I'm finally starting to see some actual progress. When I was first offered a promotion by my job, I wasn't sure if I wanted to leave my network of support, but after giving it some thought, I realized I needed a fresh start. It was daunting to leave behind all the memories I had with Lexi and our shared experiences, but it was also freeing. Moving has been challenging and exciting. I wanted to live a life that was entirely my own, free from reminders of her. I'm meeting new people and getting used to a new pace. The city feels different going to work every day without the weight of the past. I've been starting this new role is a challenge, but it's also really rewarding. I'm learning new skills, taking on more responsibility, and spending less time dwelling on the past. It's been a bit of a blessing in disguise. I decided to start therapy after a lot of encouragement from my sister Sarah. I found a therapist I really clicked with, and it's been a big help. We've been working on my trust issues and planning ways to help me regain my confidence in social situations. It's been tough because it's made me face things I'd rather ignore, but it's also been really helpful. It's been tough, but it's been beneficial. I've been following my no-contact rule with Lexi, and I can feel myself gradually getting better. I've even begun to feel optimistic about the future. She made a couple more attempts to get in touch, but finally gave up. I feel more secure now that I know she moved to a different state as well. According to our mutual friends, the fact that she is now far away has made it easier for me to get over the anxiety I experienced whenever I considered seeing her without warning 3 months ago. Rachel, the friend who had been pressuring me to Rachel, who had been encouraging me to speak with Lexi, experienced an unexpected event. Lexi wanted to apologize, so she reached out. It seems that Rachel had been unwittingly telling me the lies Lexi had been feeding her about our relationship, believing she was doing me a favor. Rachel felt bad about pressuring me after she found out I was happy she apologized and that my friend was back, but it also made me realize how much Lexi's lies had affected me, even my friendships since moving. I've also started dating again, but I've been very careful. I've gone on a couple of dates. I've been on a few casual dates with Claire, who I met at a work event. She's been really understanding when I've said I'm not ready for anything serious. One of the best things about all this has been my relationship with my sister. It's been a good reminder that there are decent, honest people out there. I'm taking things one step at a time and focusing on rebuilding my trust in this whole situation. Sarah has been a great source of support. Last month, she even came to visit me in my new city. It was great to show her around and tell her about my progress. I'm really grateful to have her in my life. She's been a great support and a constant source of strength. I've also taken up rock climbing as a new hobby. I've discovered that I really enjoy the mental and physical challenges of indoor climbing. There's a gym close to my apartment, and climbing has a meditative quality that involves concentrating on each movement and allowing everything else to fade away. I can see how far I've come when I reflect on the last 6 months. It has helped me declutter and given me a new way to express my energy. I'm getting over Lexi's betrayal. It's no longer my main concern. It doesn't define me. It's more like a dull ache. It's a scar from an old wound. It serves as a reminder of what I've been through. I'm creating new relationships, memories, and a new identity for myself. Even now, I still have nights where I lie awake, reliving every event. However, those times are becoming increasingly rare. I'm trying to regain my trust in both myself and other people. I'm more cautious now than I was before, but I'm also making an effort to avoid letting my relationship with Lexi prevent. I'm trying to make space for new friendships. But it's a slow process. I want to reassure anyone going through something similar that things do get better. Healing is possible, even though it's difficult and takes time. Be kind to yourself, surround yourself with positive people, and take things one step at a time. I want to thank everyone who has supported me along the way. Your generosity and support have been a constant source of courage. Cheers to fresh starts and better times to come. 2 years have passed since my last post, so I figured it was time for a final one. I'm in a totally different place now, both emotionally and physically, because so much has changed. I'm still in the city I relocated to for work, and it feels like home now. I can't believe how far I've come. The new position has pushed me to develop and learn in all the right ways. I've just been promoted again, and now I'm in charge of my own team. I really enjoy the sense of purpose it gives me, even though it has occasionally been stressful. Building this new life on my own terms has been incredibly fulfilling. The biggest news, though, is that I'm in a new relationship. Her name is Olivia. We've been together for about a year now. We met through rock climbing. She's an instructor at the gym I go to. Our relationship developed slowly and naturally, which was exactly what I needed after everything I'd been through. Olivia knows about my past with Lexi and has been incredibly patient and understanding. We've had many open and honest conversations about trust and boundaries, and she's been supportive every step of the way. I still have moments of insecurity, but Olivia's presence makes me feel like I can work through them. I continued with therapy for about a year after my last revision, and it was life-changing. Changing my therapist helped me process my experiences, work through the trust issues I developed, and build healthier habits in my relationships. I still use the techniques I learned, especially when anxiety or doubt starts to creep in. Therapy gave me a foundation to move forward, and it's helped me become the person I always wanted to be. As for Lexi, I haven't heard from her in over a year. The last I heard, she'd got married. I was surprised that the news didn't affect me. It was just information, like hearing about someone I once knew, but who no longer holds any power over my life. I think that's when I realized I'd truly moved on. The pain that had once consumed me was finally gone. What remains is a faint scar, a reminder of, I've been through a lot, but it's not something that hurts anymore. Some old friends have drifted away, while others have become even closer. I've also made new strong connections in my new city, people who know me without any of the history that used to define me. Max and I are still close. He visited a few months ago, and it felt amazing to share I've started a new life with him, and I'm showing him how far I've come. My sister Sarah has been a constant support. She's getting married next year, and I'm honored to be her man of honor. Olivia and I are looking forward to the wedding and celebrating this new chapter for her. Looking back on the past 2 years, I'm amazed at the journey. The pain from Lexi's betrayal feels like something from I've been through a lot, but I'm a stronger person now. I'm more resilient and confident. I've learned to set boundaries, respect myself, and trust my instincts. These lessons have enriched every area of my life, not just in relationships, but also in how I approach work, friendships, and my own goals. Rock climbing has remained a core part of my life too. I've moved to outdoor climbing and even I went on a trip to Utah last summer to try out some challenging routes. It's more than just a hobby for me now. It's a way for me to face my concerns, trust in myself and others, and focus on the present. Each ascent is a reminder of the progress I've made physically and mentally. Climbing has taught me patience, tenacity, and the value of trusting the process. I know you're going through something similar, and I just wanted to let you know that healing takes time, but it is doable. Just take it day by day. Surround yourself with people who actually care about you, and focus on finding new experiences and passions that bring you joy. Let yourself develop and heal even when it feels impossible. You're stronger than you believe, and with time, things do get better. I'm getting better. Thanks to all of you who have followed my journey and offered support along the way. Your warmth and encouragement have been a guiding light during some of my darkest days. This will be my final update, as I feel like I've finally closed this chapter. I'm ready to embrace this new chapter of my life. One that I've built with strength, resilience, and hope.